What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 5 of No Guest List. This is a podcast where we discuss everything in and around the Afro house scene, whether that's new music, breaking news, upcoming or current artist releases, whatever it may be. We are here to keep you up to date and in the loop and have all the conversations that need to be opened up. So last week's episode went down really well. If you missed that, you can check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and all we ever ask of you is to please make sure you hit that subscribe button, which will allow us to keep bringing you as much content as possible and the best possible content that we can. And remember to drop us a follow on social at No Guest List. So as always, I'm joined by my co-host Manu. How you doing, bro?
Yes, sir. What's up, man? Good to see you guys.
Good to have you here, bro. Unfortunately, Wes couldn't be here with us today, but we are going to make sure that the show goes on. So, not in his place, but we have got a third member of the show today, and our third member welcoming the multi-artist managing agent, Sam from SemTone. Welcome to the show, bro. How are you?
Hardest working man in the business.
Oh, good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be on. Always do a solid for the boys, even though when Wes can't make it, man. It's all good. It's all good.
Bro came through to cover the slot, so we've got 3.
I like it.
No, thank you for coming through, man. Obviously, we were all together just over the bank holiday weekend over here in the UK. We had an extended weekend. We all linked up at the Cross. Manu, give us a 1-minute review of the Cross. What did you think, bro? Because obviously you played as well.
It was nice, man. I really enjoyed that event. Good turnout, good crowd. We all killed it. We all smashed our sets. I didn't feel great about my set, to be honest. I feel like I played too many edits. You know me, bro. I'm a purist, but I think it called. The music was just right for the crowd, so it called for it. But yeah, I think it was nice. Again, shout out to Bartella for putting on that event. Once again, shout out to you, LA Dave, and of course the venue for that, and everyone that came out. I can't wait for the next one. We'll see. But it was good, man. It was good. Can't wait to do it again.
No, I had a great time as well, man. I think your set was fire, bro. I mean, I was going off the feedback from people who were there. Obviously, we had a lot of close friends there ourselves. And yeah, the feedback that I got, people were like, yeah, the first dude killed it. So even some of the people who didn't.
Listen. No, but you know what it is? I think for me, yeah, I mean, obviously you are your biggest critic. And I think you have to be with anything in life. But yeah, I don't know. I play those tracks a lot as well. It's those same few tracks that I try and play a lot, but also I play them because they bang, right? Yeah. I know they're assurances. So yeah.
Any particular ones that you think went down really well? Any weekend weapons, bank holiday weekend weapons from your set?
You know me, I always play that Dregger Lovely remix.
Yeah, man.
That one always gets dropped in there. Has to, because I'm the only one that has it. Me and Eno Napa. Who else?
You know what's funny? Because I heard you playing that. I had to run over. I was like, is that what you're dropping?
Yeah.
And you were like, the smuggest smile ever with one of these. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You already know. Yeah, thanks, man. It was good. But we can always do better.
Absolutely. No, I really enjoyed it as well, man. I had a great time. I think we had a nice crowd down there. And it's building. It's still a fairly new event. We'll be 3 events in, really. So it's slow. It's gradually getting there. We had a great dinner beforehand as well. A lot of the London-based Afro house crew came through. We had Robin M there. We had yourself, Sam, there with Taxin as well, which was great. Appreciate you guys coming through for that.
No, thank you for having us.
What time did you guys actually leave? Did you catch around
I think like 11:15?
They just left, man. As soon as I went beyond the decks, my guy was like, "Sorry, bro, I'm out." I was like, "Dude, really?"
we had
not even one track.
Yeah, we had to go meet up with Benji B, man. we had to go and speak to him before he started his set, because it was otherwise we would have been late hours. He might have
Of
left.
course.
How was that event? Taxi was playing in Peckham, right? Whereabouts was it?
It was at Peckham Audio for Benji B's Deviation event, which, I mean, as you guys know, I mean, or might not know, I mean, Benji B's been a big advocate for, giving Daxon also a platform on his radio station by playing his tracks for at least the last 4 to 5 months. And I mean, we did a recording in their studio on Thursday, and they were saying, yeah, look, we're happy to see you, because we're so used to having Possessed as one of the 12 tracks that's pretty much been on their rotation for the last 8 weeks every week. So it was great to be invited by Benji for Daxon's second performance out here in the UK. So it was a good follow up after having done Sondela earlier in February.
Is that Taxon's second only time that he's been to the UK? Because obviously he had Sondela the other day, and this.
Exactly.
Wow, I don't know. In my head, I thought that he'd been over here before. That's crazy.
Yeah, no. I mean, lots more coming, I'm sure. Lots more coming, I'm sure. But these were two events that we've had close ties to, I would say, for a while, from whether it was bringing out music on Sondela, or it was having Benji be really part of and interested in Daxon from an early stage ahead of many of the others based out here in the UK. So it's more of a association.
Does he like London?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't really. I asked him when he was here, and he was like, "Couldn't live here, man." I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Just straight up, the weather, man, is too cold, bro." And I was like, "Well, bro, where can you live in Europe?" And he was like, "Where can you?" He's like, "I'm gonna stay back in South Africa, man. I need my home ground."
Stay in SA.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so I remember when we were talking at the Cross. There was another DJ there, Harriet Bella, who actually I played again with on Saturday night for a company called Take One. It was great to meet her as well. She was there with as a friend of Dave's. But she was saying Peckham Audio's got some of the best, like one of the best sound systems she's heard in London. Did that come through when you guys?
It was very good. I think it's a mixture of being a very good sound system with the way that the club is structured in itself. Because the set itself is raised above with the people in somewhat of a pit, beneath you, with then the bar and balcony very much surrounding it. And it really feels like an intimate vibe, especially with quite a diverse crowd. I mean, big differences in age groups. I saw, we had people outside come up to Daxon that were easily, over 50 years old, saying like that they were there to see Daxon. And I was like, that was a new sort of different experience to Sondela, which was a younger sort of audience, but still knowledgeable. But like, it was a very diverse crowd. Again, I mean, it was people with real knowledge of his music directly that were coming to see him, which is nice to have when it's not just people coming to Peckham Audio to go to Peckham Audio. But, obviously Benji B's got his fans there. He's got his fans there that are, avid Deviation goers, let's say. But, he warmed up the crowd really, really well. Benji B, like, showed his diversity, played a heavier, let's say, 3-step oriented set, even though he's got a lot of diversity within the music that he plays. But it was definitely, cool to see him warming up and setting the scene for Daxon to really perform. So it was a real good, and he loved it himself. Daxon, we've only been getting great reviews since he's been back to South Africa. And like, this will be recorded. This will be out on, this will be out online at some point, I assume, not from a video perspective, but from an audio one.
Well, bro, what do you think about? It's interesting you say that Benji B's set was like heavily 3-step based, because we've had conversations on the pod about that before, and like the rise of 3-step. Where do you think it stands at the moment in comparison to sort of Afro House and Afro Tech? Obviously, they're all their own individual genres in their own right, but do you see 3-step growing as a genre that's going to be like really at the peak of things very, very soon, like right at the helm?
I think so. I think we're on the way there. I mean, there's been a long while where how people didn't know what 3-step was, and you had to kind of explain it as, let's say, the child in between two of the household genres that already exist down in South Africa. But the speed that it is increasing in terms of popularity, it's quickly becoming, not equal, obviously, to the progression of Afro House and the rest, but it's making a very fast progression up and throughout, because you get a lot of artists down in South Africa that are now testing the waters with that genre in terms of their own production value, trying to, mix up their own side to wanting to put out music. So it's getting there. But I mean, for the future, I definitely see it as being, I mean, especially when you see the reaction here in the UK to the style and it being very groovy at a nice BPM. People really, affiliate a lot with it. A lot of different cultures can get involved with it, whilst maybe less can do that in com or in Amapiano in a sense. But this is, I think, even more diverse, or has no, I don't know if it has a higher ceiling, but I mean, with Daxin and the likes of Atmos Black and other people that, are at the forefront of this, I think they're young guys. They've got a lot of years to build into this, and being at the forefront of a genre this early in their career is going to be is a nice position to be in, I think, when you're looking at artists which are being independent in their own right.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree with that. I think it's crazy to see such a great response to Three Step from different types of house audience in the UK, like underground house audiences. So the event that I played at on Saturday night, originally they're like a garage and drum and bass event, and they started to sort of delve into Afro house and stuff. It was a cool group. They mixed up between sort of Amapiano and Afro house, Afro tech kind of stuff. And when I went on, I was trying to sort of read the crowd a little bit. I played a couple of sort of more melodic tracks that didn't go down well at all. Like in fact, the dance floor started emptying out. And then I was like, do you know what? I'm going to go more down three-step vibes. And I played, what's it called? Berlin, Banjapa, and I played a couple of other Atmos Black tracks. I played the Cure and the Cause remix because obviously that's a garage crowd classic vocal. And then the other track that went crazy, I know it's not exactly three-step, but it's got that kind of groove and the percussion. B Dimensions, Taxin's remix. I think that's actually a remix of Kid Funk. He's on the original. That track went off. Like, they loved it, man. So I think that these guys are gonna really relate to a different type of audience, whereas Afro House and Afro Tech sort of relates to melodic and the soulful audiences in the UK. You're gonna start getting this more bass heavy and garagey audiences coming in for Free Step, and before you know it, Afro House takes over the world, man. That's how it's gonna go.
Yeah, it's also strange from my side. It's strange from my side because we're getting, the organic inquiries that we're getting out of the blue for someone like Daxin aren't the same places that were coming out of the blue for the likes of Karen de Sol or for Kasanga or whatever. They're completely different destinations or different promoters that are throwing completely different sides of events, and which is nice to see that certain places are in a different headspace, I would say, to what is currently being looked at as the industry to be in, you know what I mean? From the Afro House commercial side, these are guys that are, and not sleeping on these artists early in their careers, not waiting for them to become who they want to be, but saying, all right, we want to get these guys early and educate our own audiences on what type of music that these guys are making, especially from the States, or like Canada. They are now. These guys, the numbers are running up in these places, like the United States and Canada. Like, they want them.
Bro, I think speaking about mentioning some of your other artists is probably a good time to go on to our first sort of big question for you in a sort of meaty subject of the conversation. Give us some background, if you can, into some of the artists on your roster, and obviously we've spoken about this before, but for people who don't know you, how you came into being an agent and a manager and got into that side of the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the easier spot to start. Is I was a young promoter in the industry when I was like 17, 18 years old, living in Switzerland. Just fell in love with electronic music in general, and went to study just simple events management degree. Didn't really have much other objective than wanting to be involved with electronic music in any capacity. And it was like, all right. And as I grew up and got older, I just decided I wanted to be involved with the artistic process more side than the events side of things directly, even though I'd probably find myself, incorporating the event side into what I did in the future again. So like then I started looking for artists and which sort of sound that I wanted to be involved in. And quickly I learned that I wanted to only be involved with artists directly where I was a direct fan of their music, because that pushed me to kind of strive towards, more with that artist and take more interest in that individual themselves. So started there, hit up a couple of Europeans, wasn't really the vibe I was feeling. And then, I was just traveling down to South Africa casually with, a bit of family holiday left and right. And that was about 8 years ago now, I think 8 years ago. And just stumbled upon it, really. Stumbled upon Afro and everything going on. Saw Coffee play live for 3 hours and was dumbfounded. Was just dumbfounded by the vibe of the room and the demographic of the people, everyone involved. And I was like, well, this is something that Europe's not really seen on any sort of scale yet. And I said, all right, I'm not going to be able to get coffee or anything like that, but there must be guys here that just don't have the, let's say, the business setup or the knowledge and how to deal with European markets and the way that and speed that things work out here compared to down in South Africa. So I was like, and I hit up a couple of artists 3-4 months later, and that was Kasango and Karen de Sol, those two who I hit up. And they weren't, they were early stage career, they like, Karen de Sol had just done a track called Any Other Way with Coffee, and they dropped a music video on YouTube, and they were like walking through the streets, and I was like, who's that kid? I was like, who's that, man? Like, and then, shortly after that, we started talking, and same with Kasango. I think he had Let You Go at the time when I hit him up. And it was just
Okay, I
like,
remember that track.
yeah, and it was just like, all right, well, what are you guys doing and what do you guys want to do? It was more of a, look, let's try and do something. Let's not put any sort of stipulation on what we are going to be able to achieve. I think it's a much better platform to speak and, get to know artists and build relationships with those individuals if you don't really have too much expectations from the start. Like, I wasn't expecting them to deliver X amount of records, and they weren't expecting me to deliver X amount of gigs off the get-go, because it's impossible to tell who's what, where's going to hit, and when, especially early in my career and early-ish in theirs. So it was like, all right, based on
What are some of the
people.
signs, bro? Like, what are some of the signs when you start working with an artist? What are some of the signs that you look out for that they might go down well in Ibiza, or where they might be well received in a Tulum or a Dubai, or are there any things that you can sort of pinpoint where you go, this is where this artist will work? Is there anything like that that you
That's I would say that's quite hard. I think that's quite hard to say. I think because each different artist, like as well, all the artists that I work with now, it's hard to say that I can predict exactly which country or which even continent that they're going to be more popular or drive more interest. Like it's hard to say. So usually I do non-exclusive deals for X amount of time to kind of figure out that sort of vibe. I announce them, and then they're like, all right, let's see. Maybe it's Europe, maybe it's UK, might be Middle East. There's certain artists which happen faster in those sort of sense. But it's hard to predict, I would say, which region that someone's going to hit, because it's the fans that do the talking, really, at the end of the day. Like, at the end of the day, it's where that the music is being picked up most in terms of fandom, I mean, I would say. And like with Karen de Sol, I mean, I thought that his music was definitely tailored towards the European markets, and the moment that what was happening in Afro House was tailored towards it. I had heard tracks like Imali early on, Warrior's Prayer early on, and those tracks were like, you had a more, melodic record and you had a heavy hitter, and I was like, right, you got both, and when you have both, it's easier to sell. It's easier to sell. And then I think after he dropped, and we got a couple of clips of him dropping Warrior's Prayer when he did a couple of gigs in Kenya, that's when really people just started seeing, all right, this track hits. Like, this track hits, and then accompanied by a couple of big gigs in South Africa at Cabo Beach or whatever, which get a good amount of visibility out in the European market, then, then you hit, you start to hit. But it's all about keeping the ball rolling, for sure, regardless of how big of a record you have.
So, bro, let me ask you a question. So, as far as when you start a conversation with an artist, how much has it changed from when you first started on your journey of artist management and now? Any kind of changes in how you manage it and how you approach artists, in what you tell them and how you sales pitch to them. Yeah, I'm quite interested to see what that process looks like when you first started and now.
Yeah, I would say that let's say 70% of my pitch is still the same today as it was when I first started. Like just in terms of what my motivations are, but behind and me playing the long game, not coming in here for short wins, not coming looking to build a relationship with the artist,
Sure.
irregardless of bookings or not. And I think that, when you're here to build with the artist directly and talk about, help it. Like, it's not my job to help push their music directly or help them get on a radio show with Anthony James. It's not my job. It's genuinely not. It's just, I want to do that because I want to see the artist progress in a general sense. And when you talk about helping them progress to a certain point in their career and not holding them to a point of, all right, no, I was here first, if someone bigger comes in, they like that sort of attitude. And I think it's about the attitude that you show towards them that yields a lot, I would say. Like a lot of people come in asking for exclusive deals big because they have worked with X and X and X. Like even to this day, I'm not out here saying, all right, yeah, like I was early stages with Kasango, or I worked with Desiree earlier in her career. I'm not using that as a flex point towards the next artist. I'm like, you know what, if you really want to reference me, you can just go and speak to them and ask them what their opinion is on me as an individual. I'm not going to be like, oh, this and that. And
Sure.
I mean, look, like but nowadays I think obviously it's changed. Like that other 30%, I would say it's changed a little bit just because now I have a little bit more of, more reputation in terms of who I've worked with over time, that just, you could just go
Sure.
and see who I've worked without me having to say anything. That now I get more organic inquiries, and that conversation is a little bit different. Like, I mean, it's infrequent that I get an artist that hits me up and then I directly say yes to them. No, I probably have a conversation with them multiple times over about a 6-month period before I even decide, all right, I think this is a good fit for us to even just start a non-exclusive deal, just to see what the lay of the land is, what you're like, how you like, do you like the way I work? If not, you know what, happy to have been a part of it for whatever it is,
Yeah, it's got
two
to be a
months,
fit.
4 months, it don't matter. Like, I'm here to help. I want to help the
Right.
culture of South Africa and everyone see the music. I don't care. I just want to be a part of projects because that's what I love to do.
Yeah. Do you think obviously at this stage now you've been doing it, how many years have you been doing it? You said 8 years, right? Around that
No,
around that time?
8 years ago is when I went down to South Africa, and it was about like close to a year after that I started working with artists directly. So it's about like six years, but 4 years of SemTone directly. SemTone as a company,
Because
4
I mean,
years.
by this stage, like, I mean, look, just from when we spoke on on my radio show, which was probably, I want to say it was almost a year ago, maybe now.
Yeah, it's about a year and a
You've
half.
grown significantly since then, and obviously we have conversations. I'm sure you've had conversations with Manu as well about some of the artists that you have coming up that are soon to be joining your roster. Do you find that you're being approached a lot more now by artists who recognize who you are and they've seen what you do and they go, this is the guy that we want to work with? We're not going to feel as restricted. We're not going to feel like our creative freedom's being infringed upon or whatever. So do you find a lot of artists are approaching you now for representation as opposed to you having to approach artists?
Yes, I get quite a lot of outreach, I would say, from different artists at different levels. At different levels, some people who are very early in their career that are just looking for someone to help branch themselves out. I would say, that's sort of a harder task for me to do at the current lifeline of the company before I grow even more exponentially and have more staff members that can help with that side. Because what I did for someone like Karen de Solen in the beginning, was nurturing and helping from the very beginning, when I didn't have other artists to split up time with. So now, yes, I mean, I get inquiries, but it's more important to me now to, speak to somebody who knows the different aspects of the business a little bit, doesn't really wants to be an artist directly and doesn't want to have to do their own logistics or do their own thing in left and right, because I believe that as well. I said, if you want to be the artist that you want to be, you got to be ultimately have the time to sit in the studio as much as damn possible, like as much as damn possible,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, for sure.
next man is, he's in the studio 8 hours a day, working his ass off, really. I mean, like he's there. And
Absolutely.
if you're having to juggle that with do logistics, do your own promotion, do your own social media, it's a little bit hard. So like if someone's in that position and the music's good and then they just need that sort of time, that's an easier entrance for me, I'd say, now in the current market. But I don't distinguish, like I look, when I sign artists, it's all about the personal connection and the music I have, connection I have to the music in itself. Like if I believe, like when I first heard Lemon and Herb, I was like convinced. I was 100% convinced. But like they've been around for time, but like they also weren't working with anybody directly from Europe in any perspective. But we've been friends for like 2 years, and we only started working together at the end of last year. But that was just over time. And I was like, all right, sometimes you can make connections like we are doing, or someone introduced themselves to me, but it might not be instantaneous. It might be for something in a year from now. But I'm always open to the conversation to talk to any artist. Like if anyone hits me up, I'm going to hit you up. I'm going to respond. I'm just going to say, this is the lay of the land. This is where I think that you're at. I'll be very direct and say, that's where it is. And I can't really give the advice from the musical standpoint of view because I'm not an artist myself, but I know what sounds good. I trust my own musical intuition. And the only reason I trust my own musical intuition is because I've managed to pick some good artists when they first started. And I was like, all right, well, what else have I got to roll on
And see
other
what
than
works.
having picked Karen DeSol, Kasango, Desiree, and Citizen Deep as my first four, that I worked with. So I was like, all right, well, if I got that right, then I'll just trust my own intuition kind of going forward.
Yeah, it's super interesting, bro. Because, I mean, look, Manu and I have had multiple conversations, both on the pod and sort of offline, where we're both at the stage where we're kind of making music ourselves as well. And I mean, Manu's a social media guy, aren't you, bro? So you know how time consuming that is from your perspective for what
Yeah.
you have to do. I know how time consuming it is from my perspective, and I'm doing like right now, especially, I'm doing far less than what Manu's doing, but maybe a couple of months ago, I was doing exactly what you were saying, which was spending sort of 8, 9 hours in the studio a day, wake up, live and breathe studio, and that was it, non-stop, 7 days a week. And then when I have some time off, I might go to the gym or, I don't know, do a gig or whatever, take a few more gigs. But I think, yeah, definitely for new artists who are coming in, that what you said there pinpoints it. It's the role of the agent and the manager to, and correct me if I'm wrong here, this is what I heard, the role of the agent and the manager to split your time up and give you more freedom to focus on making music, so you're not having to manage your own bookings, manage your own PR, manage your own social media, sort out all of your own travel. It's all of that side of the industry which you take over essentially.
Yeah, I would say there's a time though for those things, because when you're early in your career, I think that maybe brings us to one of the other points, is that when you're early, it's not bad to experience all those different aspects and get in touch with those different parts of the industry, whether it's from the logistics side, whether it's from the contracting side, the invoicing side, the social media side, to understand each aspect as an artist. And then after, when you then start getting those inquiries, then searching for, management or an agent. I wouldn't say like in the very beginning when you're first getting started that you should go and search and sign to a management agency and get an agent straight away, because you don't know what's right and left. You don't know if he's doing a good job, if he got your values and what you want to be done from that perspective. And you just need to find the right individual over a little bit of time. And I mean, but in the very beginning, I'd say you should start like that. And then after a little bit of time, once you start getting that little bit of traction, then just, feel it out, one at a time, one at a time. I wouldn't jump into bed with
Traction
anyone
first,
too fast.
agent next. Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't jump too
yeah,
fast.
totally.
I think that having those experiences benefits you as an all-round artist in general. I think to understand each aspect.
So, bro, I was gonna chime in here. I know at the moment you've got, a pretty good roster of artists that you look after. Names that both Anthony and myself know very well. But even for, I guess, new artists that you're looking at the moment to sign, what are some key things that you look at, maybe from their social presence, online presence? Yeah, what are some key features, key things that you look at into an artist before that helps you make that decision, that final decision of signing them, or even not even signing them, maybe approaching them and starting a conversation? Or any things that you look for, and maybe some advice to people that are listening that are kind of in that journey at the moment?
Yeah, I would say right now, my main indicator, I would say, in looking at artists that I'm gonna sign is music first, completely. Like, are you being creative enough in trying to be unique in a current market, which is pretty much saying right now that you need to be more unique. You need to be more unique as an artist because it's so popular to currently be within the scene with the rise, like you guys spoke on a previous podcast, of the more commercial Afro house side, where that there's a lot of, we call it like copycats in the game, trying to recreate what other artists are doing. And I would not genuinely go after an artist if they're trying to copy a certain style. I look for uniqueness, like and obviously with the help of the pages like what Wesley runs and what you guys are involved in, and that making its way through social media. It's a good way for me to discover artists when they are, maybe not got big platforms, and then someone bigger plays their track. That's a good indicator for me that obviously not just kind of music, but like when it's levels of different tracks, when you got then a Rhodes playing it, then you got Coffee dropping it, then you got Maz dropping it, and then it's just like in a roll. It's a rolling thing. But music first
Yeah.
is what I look at, and I think that uniqueness is the key to sustainability currently in this current market. I mean, like, that's not to say that it's the same for all genres, but the ones that I'm involved in currently, that uniqueness is the driver for you being like me wanting to work with you in a general sense. I would say me wanting to work with you is based on you being an independent artist and producing your own stuff, not just doing remixes, not just doing certain things. But if you have done a remix, it's fine. It's all good. It's no problem. Like, there are very, very good remixes out there. But when you're gonna get the real credibility from the fans and from the industry is when you just take the risk and put out independent records. You put out an EP, even if you think like, all right, I don't think it's the best thing ever, but people will respect the fact that you're just putting out independent music and you're believing in yourself. If you just
Backing
continue
yourself.
to 10 remixes after another, I'm not really sure. I don't
Every
really, it's hard to
remix is
tell.
down. Every pop song of the '90s has been
But it's
remixed.
safe though, isn't it? I feel like
Yeah,
putting
exactly. I
out 10
mean,
remixes, it's safe. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And it will get
I mean,
you
look, we
get
just
you
spoke about this
visibility,
off
but
air.
that's not the long game. That's the short
Yeah,
game. That's the short game. It's a short win.
yeah. We just spoke about this with Night Freak mentioned it at Miami Music Week. We were just talking about this off air, and one of the things that he was saying was that we need label owners and A&Rs to go after more people that are pushing their own original sound, and it's something that I'm really starting to see come to the front of the Afro House conversation a lot more. Obviously, we're thrilled about it here because it's something we talk about a lot as well. But originality nowadays, I think what Night Freak said, and I don't want to go on the record of quoting him on this, but it was along the lines of him saying, if we continue what we're doing at the moment, which is making copycat music, then over the next 3, 4, or 5 years, there will be no Afro House, as we know, because it will
Yeah.
just all sound like your favorite artist, the most popular artist right now. So yeah, I think it's really good to hear that um, from your perspective as a manager, that you're looking for people who are making original and unique music, because really and truly, you play such a vital role in who's going to be on which stage in which country in front of the fans at the end of the
Yeah.
day. If
Yeah. Yeah.
without you, there's no Taksin playing in Peckham, really.
Yeah,
Well,
Tagsin is literally the
man.
perfect example, isn't it, of someone that is creating original sound.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I couldn't think of another name, another literally trendsetter like Tagsin at the moment that is backing himself, creating, being creative, and literally creating a whole new genre. But Sam, like, what other artists on your roster would you say that are original to a level that you're a fan of and people should pay attention to at the moment? Maybe a couple.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been, I mean, as you guys know, a big advocate of what Karen de Sol is and what he stands for. And he kind of doesn't give, as you'd say, a rat's what anybody else is doing. He literally doesn't care. And I love that sort of attitude. He's like, I'm doing my thing. And another one like that is Citizen Deep, man. Citizen Deep doesn't care. You know, when you ask him who's his
He's
favorite,
got
he's done interviews where people ask him who's your favorite artist in the world, and he's like, me. Like he answers, it's me. I'm like, I don't care about nobody else
he's
and
not
what no.
confident. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, like, definitely their sound is very, specific in a way, that I love their uniqueness. Obviously, what Dandy Dry has brought back to the table now, I think is really good. You know, she's on a good trajectory. She just did, her first show out in the US, which absolutely banged. Like it was apparently brilliant. I couldn't make it myself, but to have her do and represent women in South Africa as well as Desiree out in the States is really great to see. And I mean, on the other hand, guys out in Switzerland, like Darren and this and that. And just, I'm not saying that because I'm a Swiss-based company, but it surprised me as an agent that the fact that, a lot of these guys from an independent sound-wise is what we're talking about, coming out of Switzerland all of a sudden, and I was like, whoa, what's happening here? And I'm happy to be in the middle of it. And, like with me having started with the South Africans and continuing to do so, I will not change that analogy. But to have then the Swiss guys come through on the other hand is really ideal for my sort of company structure and what we're doing. And so I will not stop there. And I mean, some cool things to come with Darren and the likes of, hopefully some other artists from Switzerland sometime soon. So that this will be good
Is
to
that
see, I think.
you said some other artists like I in my head, bro. I don't know. I don't want to expose your plans or anything, but there's one guy who obviously Darren sensational. I love what Darren's doing. In fact, it was through Darren that I was introduced to this next guy. But what he's doing right now, I think genuinely one of the artists to watch, just in the sense of the underground electronic music scene, because his quality of production is sensational. Do you know Blue Method?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
I
this
know Blue.
guy. Like I'm a
He'll
big
be
fan
playing.
of
He'll be
everything
playing. He'll be
Blue's
playing
doing.
with. Yeah, he'll be playing before Karen de Sol on 11th of May in Zurich.
Yeah,
Blue is
fully.
tough as well. Yeah, I spoke to him. Him and I
Blue's
connected.
tough. Yeah,
They're all
Yeah,
young guys, man.
Blue.
They're all young guys, man.
for
They're
real,
young
man.
guys and they're all
Yeah.
young.
And he's another one who sort of lives up to the example that you said of spending like countless amount of time in the studio. He's
Exactly.
always in the studio. He's always got something new coming out. I think he just dropped a remix that's coming out on Jibalo. I think it's this weekend, or it may have dropped last weekend. But yeah, bro, he's obviously from Switzerland as well,
He's a
man.
bad boy. Yeah, Blue's
Yeah,
bad.
man.
Yeah, and me
Great,
and
great
Manu were
talent.
talking, the other day. Like Manu said to me, he was like, "Yeah, well, don't sleep on Joseph neither." Like what Joseph recently did with that So-So remix, like that was ridiculous.
Bro,
Yeah, that was,
For real.
and
perfect. That is a
Bro,
10 out of
it's
like
10 for
this
me,
amazing.
man.
guy's, and I mean also from an events perspective, look at, I mean, this event in Zurich called Naturklang that do stuff all over Switzerland. Like they have, like they're doing shows with Anmi, kind of music. They got Black Coffee coming in the summer. They're really upping their game in that perspective as well. So like the events are there to support as well these younger artists and be associated with the bigger guys. Like
So
and
what
like
is it about Switzerland that we don't know? Is there something going on? Like, what's the culture there that is allowing for the growth of Afro House and these producers? Is there anything?
I mean, it's always like Zurich specifically has been quite. I mean, look, Montrouge is from Geneva as well. You got like
Yeah.
you got
Really, I didn't know
Lazar
that.
and Lazare is from Geneva as well. Like they're
Lazar.
all down. Yeah, like they're
Wow.
all and
I
yeah,
learned something
exactly.
new today, man.
Even if you go way back, Luciano is from Geneva. Like so, like Adriatique is from Zurich, like Nora and Pure from
No
Zurich.
way.
Like, dude, like they've been around, but it's like the Andrea Oliva's from Zurich. You can keep naming, like it's there's a lot, and I mean, look, Zurich's only 1 million people, like in total, and like so that interest in electronic music has been there for ages, and it's just now I think showing its face from let's say more the Afro house and melodic side of things, which is, and it was just primed for that. And I mean, and a good
Yeah.
quality of life with a lot of opportunities in a small community where there maybe are only like 4 or 5 main clubs in a certain city. And then, you get the platform to play in these places probably faster than you would in a city like London, or like in terms of visibility, right? Like if there's only 4 or 5 clubs in a city, like everyone's going to know you after like 2 months if you play there once a month.
What
Everyone's
would you
going to know
say?
you.
Well, if you had to like give it a bit of free promo to those clubs, because I'm interested to know. You think of European hotspots for where you might visit for good parties. Obviously, Zurich's on the map, but I couldn't name a club from Zurich to visit.
Yeah,
So,
no, I mean,
where would you go?
Kaufleuten is one of the household clubs in Zurich. There's another great one called Supermarket. There's one called Hive. I mean, those are real, let's say staples of the Zurich scene. But there's a lot of smaller venues as well, which just have ingrained good sound systems, always full on weekends. It's a good place. I mean, I grew up there for 3 4 years when I was 16 to 20, so I saw it kind of firsthand and working in the nightclubs at the time. But it's a good culture of music. It's a good culture of, and it's safe. It's a great place to be around when you're young.
Yeah. Well,
Need
I
to
know
get
I'm
booked in
kind
there,
of looking
man.
for a summer. Manu's like, I've got to get
Speak
booked
to Darren, bro.
in
I
Speak to
gotta get
Darren.
booked in there.
Speak to Darren. Speak to Darren. Darren will hook you up.
Easy, easy.
100%,
Yeah.
man. But for real, bro, it's crazy. It's, like I said, some of the guys who are coming up in Zurich are crazy. Some of the clubs that you see on these social pages is insane. I think Wes has put some stuff up recently as well. I want to say it was, I feel like it was Bon Jappa and Blue Method were playing together recently, and it just looked,
It's an event
Mystica,
called,
an event
yeah,
called Mystica, right?
yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
looks
yeah.
incredible.
And
So,
that's where Karen de Soul is playing on May 11th.
okay,
Yeah.
all
And
right, cool. Guys, get your tickets, right?
Daxon in Zurich, August 26th.
So what's the venue
Oh,
there then? What's
can't
the
wait.
venue?
Cool. The ones that Karen de Soul is playing is called Samigo. It's like a venue close to the lake. It's more of a performance venue. It's not a club like every weekend they have in the summer. They got a roof
Gotcha.
terrace in the summertime. They got, an indoor club. Desiree's played there for Naturklang before as well, I think, in the past. I went to a show there, and I mean, it's obviously it's a newer event. I mean, Mystica has been around, I think, for about 4 or 5, 6 maybe event series, but they have the right attitude, and they have the right, attitude to bring out these sort of artists and not just rely on homegrown talent and take risks on certain guys that maybe wouldn't get the
Sure.
opportunity in a place like that straight away.
Yeah. Bro, it's,
So
it's
it's good to
super
see.
interesting, man. When you mention these things and sort of like what it takes for artists to get known nowadays, obviously you said music was a huge aspect of it. How important now, obviously compared to back in the day, you just sort of had to be a good musician, make good music, a good producer and artist, and be a good DJ to become a really well-known DJ, play in your local clubs, and eventually build your name. Obviously times have changed a little bit now. How important is it for you from an agent's perspective that somebody has a good social media presence as well? Do you think that plays a big role in the growth of artists
Definitely, it
nowadays?
definitely does. It definitely does. It's just an aspect of the whole wheel. It's an aspect of the whole
Yeah,
wheel, and having good quality, and I would say quality over quantity. I mean, there was a time where that quantity was just being pushed out in droves, but people really resonate with quality of content, and also emotional value,
Yeah.
like emotional value of what you're writing, what you're posting about. I'm not saying be all soppy. I'm just saying like resonate with your fans. Let them know who you are as an artist, and show them, all right, these are my interests. This is what I like to produce. This is me, like looking around. This is what I'm doing on a daily basis. Not like 20 stories a day. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like showcase what your daily life is about and who you are as an
Keep them
individual.
engaged.
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah, yeah. Keep them
build a
engaged.
following because they like who you are, not only because you dropped X clip of whatever. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
using social media to its max and showcasing different artists playing your music, this and that is beneficial. Of course it is. Of course it is. But there's too much content and there's the right content. The right content is distinguished by, just you taking your time and not overposting and, kind of being, specific, I would say,
You
about
know,
what you want to put out.
you know what bugs me? You mentioned, posting about other artists playing your music on your
Yeah.
socials. It bugs me when, dude,
I know exactly what you're about
when
to say,
people
bro.
post 20 videos of kind of music or whoever it is playing their music, and it's literally their social feed is just other people playing their music.
It's
To
when
me, that
when
is
they
the
pin it as
biggest.
their main post, when they pin it as their main post on the
Oh,
profile.
bro,
Yeah.
to
I
me,
mean,
that is
you know what?
the biggest
Manu, I thought you
turn
were
off.
going to say something else. Like, I've seen that as well. And I mean, like you're saying, Sam, there's quality content and then there's too much. And I do think that it can be overpowering. It's it goes from being like, wow, this is an achievement to a bit like, yeah, man, I've already made it. These guys played my track. But the one that I've seen a lot recently, and I think Wesley mentioned it a few episodes ago and
I
said
know
it
what
was
you're gonna
his
say.
friend. People are putting their track over a video of kind of music playing another track. Like, I don't know, we always have to
But
have a
that's bad,
controversial
though.
moment in our
That's
pods, and I
just
think this is it. Like, that's a bad
I
move.
would say
that's the
since
cheekiest thing you can do.
last summer, like I would say beginning of last summer is when this whole sort of trend started with specifically kind of music, right? Like it's not like
Yeah,
everybody, it's
specifically.
them. It's just them. And excuse me. And like it did work for a time. It did work, I would say, where that it drove certain bookings and like got you ahead to others. And I would say there's no harm in keeping the footage for yourself and maybe keep them on your Google Drive for when you have a certain event that wants to educate their audience on what sort of music has been played and who might have played it. That's all right. I mean, for them to use it, but for yourself to put it as main posts on your profile, and then every week be like, oh, they played it again. Oh, they played it again, and they didn't actually play it again. It's
Yeah,
just
on the story is fine.
someone reposting
Yeah,
on
yeah. Listen,
from a different angle. It's the same situation.
yeah.
So it's all
But you
it's all.
know what AJ is talking about. So Soldier Boy. So Soldier Boy, when he was up and coming, he used to do this. But obviously back then it wasn't Instagram and social media. So what he used to do, right, on LimeWire. Remember LimeWire?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
could download the song. So he used to rename his tracks. So he would put Jay-Z Big Pimpin'. And then once you download it
Soldier
and you
Boy.
open and you play it, it's literally completely something else. That's what Soldier Boy used to do, mate. And
I
then
mean,
he got
Soldier
big
Boy is
doing
the
that.
king troll of the internet, bro. He's like the king troll.
Bro, biggest troll.
King Troll. But that's the thing, we're calling it
That's
trolling
what's
now,
happening
but
though.
that's happening now as well. But
That's
like going
happening.
back to our episode about leaked music, there's again, I can't say who, but there's people who have been said to me, "Oh, I've got this track," and they'll play me which X track that they've got this unreleased, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not it. That's
Yeah.
absolutely not it." Like I actually saw a track that was supposedly a bootleg of this record on SoundCloud, and again, I won't say what it was because I don't want people to go and find it, but when I downloaded it, it was just Maria Maria by Santana.
But you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, what is this? I
What are
didn't
we doing?
realize Santana was trying to infiltrate the Afro house music scene so badly with old school records. But yeah, it's crazy.
No, but I see what you mean, man. I mean, but like to get back to the
It's
point of
ridiculous.
like quality over quantity. And like when you have good content of yourself, even playing to a room of 100 people, it doesn't matter. Just put it out, see what the reaction is. You get it in good HD, stick it up there on a reel,
Yeah.
you know, do whatever. I think that, each to their
Or
own.
just
And
be confident. I think yeah, you just have to be confident with it. Make sure that it's good, high quality, and be consistent. Don't just post once a month. Try and post 3, 4 times. Be consistent. Find what works for you. and
Yeah, look,
yeah, you
follow
figure it out.
follow the rhythms of how the algorithm changes. Like the algorithm changes with Instagram like often in terms of
Yeah.
what gets a lot of
I mean,
views, what doesn't. Like it's really strange how it's developed over the years. In terms, at one point it was all video, then it went back to like still images, getting way more likes and getting more visibility, and now with the addition on story mode of the hearting and commenting and all that, like that pushes you to the fucking to the stratosphere. When people click those hearts
yeah.
on your story, your views go nuts.
And in lives as well. And in
Yes.
lives especially, I feel like that pushes you out.
Yeah.
Manu, obviously you're an expert in this field in terms of like algorithms and knowing what sort of content works.
It's hard to
You just
maintain
said that you do
knowledge over
about three
what's
or
working.
four.
It's very hard.
Yeah. But I heard
Try.
that
I
like
mean,
you do
yeah.
it 3 or 4 times a month. Do you think that that's enough as a growing artist to post? Because I mean, you post what you want maybe once or twice a day on
I
most
mean, to be
platforms.
honest, it just depends. Your use of the platform. If you're a
Yeah.
content creator, of course, that is what you do. Then you should post every day or multiple times a week.
Mm.
But if you're a DJ, a bit more laid back approach works. Once a week, I think it's fine. Twice a week, I think it's fine. And if you're posting your gigs and if you're posting a more lifestyle piece of content, that's cool. And I think that's a good cadence.
Yeah,
But yeah,
variety.
if you're a content creator, of course, yeah, variety. You definitely have variety in there. And I think, to be honest, I was chatting with Rancido, and he was telling me he's based in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
He's getting gigs now because he started posting on Instagram his videos of his gigs and really investing in the quality. And he's like, dude, that's why I'm getting gigs now. It's not really about Keybay or anything else. It's just because he started posting
Yeah.
on Instagram consistently and just putting in effort
Yeah.
on that online presence. So it's key.
Do you think does he
Yeah.
have like a videographer who follows him around? Because I noticed you had a photographer who came to the cross, and immediately the next day it was like profile picture change
It
to
was
don't
there,
post
man.
this day. So it's like definitely a worthwhile investment, man. You've got to stay on top
Oh,
of
for
your game
sure.
like that.
Listen, not every time, not every
Yeah,
time, but I think as well, it's just like give it a go. If it doesn't work, if it's not sustainable, that's fine. But at least you tried. You see what works. You try a few people out, and also you never know. Like you might like the type of content that you see. Something might spark an idea in the moment. So you just have to try things, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. And definitely having someone committed to just doing your videography on a night out, even if it's
Oh
just a
man,
friend of yours with an iPhone,
just
is
get a friend. Yeah.
it's commendable because look, like we had August out here in London at B Club a couple of weeks ago, and on his own dollar, he flew his own videographer all the way out from San Francisco, regardless of fees or accommodation, regardless, like, and just to take advantage of the
Worked
moment.
out well.
And yeah, 100%. Like organic
Worked out
inquiries
very
have
well,
gone
man. I
through
feel like
gone through the roof.
That's literally it.
absolutely.
At the
And bro, he
moment,
killed his set as well, by
important.
the way. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
incredible set. It was
And he's
very
a
good.
very humble and he's a very humble, a very, very humble guy in terms of,
Lovely.
he knows what is required in the industry and the long game. The same sort of attitude I have with the artist. Long game, not short wins. Let's go for it for as long as we can instead of as quick as we can.
Well, again, August, when it comes to content, is one of the best in Afro House.
Yeah, very good.
If you just go on his page, when it comes to promoting his music, he's one of the best. So yeah, people I think should take a just you know look at what he's doing and follow the format because he's very good.
Yeah. And definitely don't sleep on the hashtag or when you do sponsored ads of your content, pick all the main countries that you think are relevant to you and send them out and see what hits, see what doesn't. Like don't just do like 5 countries and be like, all right, yeah, I like London, I like Paris, I like Madrid, I like Berlin, and that's it. No, go further than that.
Yeah.
Definitely stay away from the buying followers side of it completely.
Oh my
People
goodness.
people are
Stay
too
away from
smart.
what,
People are
sorry?
buying followers.
Buying followers.
Oh,
because
I thought you said stay away from Dubai. I was like, huh?
nah,
Stay
nah,
away,
nah, nah, nah.
stay away from
Definitely not.
buying
No,
followers.
buying followers.
Okay.
Yeah, man, people see through it. Everyone's an Instagram professional nowadays. You know, like everyone is. So everyone sees, you can see through it so clearly. It's so easy to
I
see.
think
And
that's a
people are
trend that's
haters, trust me.
slowly declined as well because I remember seeing people who have got like 50K followers and then their posts are on 50 likes.
Exactly.
And I took the time out, man. I'm that dude who went, you hid your likes, but I jumped onto the thing and scrolled because there's about 10 on the
Yeah,
screen. You're
yeah.
only scrolling 5. So we know you got 50 likes on this post with your 50K followers, but I feel like that trend's on a little bit on the decline now, also because social media platforms are cracking down on
Oh,
what you
you
might
have to
call
though.
fraudulent activity or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, obviously, aside from online presence and I think online personality as well, what stands out to you when you sort of meet an artist, discover someone new or somebody who's already fairly well established? What are some of the like personality or character traits that you see make a successful, long-lasting, long-standing artist?
Oof. I mean, I'd say at a younger age with less touring experience than that, it's harder to tell from the beginning. I think it's just, for me, it's very much intuition, man. It's just like, I mean, if you are as myself, used to meeting new people, and I moved around a lot as a kid and having to make new friends all the time, you kind of develop a little bit of a skill to kind of see through people for, what their sort of values are and how quickly they can move in a market or accept a market or be comfortable in a certain situation. I won't discount anybody for the way that they are. It's just, is it the right fit for me as an individual, as an agent? Like, there might not be always the right fit, even though I'm interested in the way that that person is. Like, that's also why, certain artists, we didn't end our working relationship specifically. It was just like, all right, maybe there's somebody better suited towards what you want as an artist and who you suit with better. So it's a very personal thing. I think the agent towards artist relationship, I think that if you understand each other and you can be completely honest and direct about everything that is going on, whether that's from an emotional side, whether that's from a financial side, if you're not happy with things, if you keep things in, it's gonna go sour really, really fast, really fast. And I think that, my preference is just to be open, like completely open. I'll be open with you as long as you are open in every aspect of your career with me. Whether you like something or not, I don't really mind. But just tell me, and we can work the situation. So I think those are the important values to have, man, as an artist and agent working relationship. Be completely open all of the time.
Yeah,
Without
good
that,
communication.
you're gonna struggle, man.
Yeah. Well, bro, look, man, we're approaching the top of the hour, so we could go. I feel like we could go on about this stuff for days, and it's super insightful for anybody who's listening, who's trying to sort of break through, or even just find a way, like you said, to give themselves more time to work in the studio, and who else can help them manage their career. I'm sure SemTone's going to get a good few more inquiries as a
It's all
result of this
good, man.
conversation. Hopefully, it will. But we really appreciate you coming on with us today, man. We're not
Yeah,
going to
Yeah,
wrap
thanks,
it
man.
bro.
up just yet.
Anytime,
We've
man.
got a few things to discuss, and I'm sure you're going to have some to add to this as well. Music that we're looking forward to dropping, upcoming releases. Manu, do you want to go first and head this one up?
Oh man, I mean, just because today I received a lot, I can't even say it now. No, I just caught myself because I can't talk about it. Amana. Okay, let's talk Amana. I'm looking
Okay.
forward to Amana dropping April 12th. The
Yeah.
first time I heard that track, I didn't feel it for
Really?
some reason. Yeah, for some reason I was like, what is this? But you know what happens? Sometimes you're just in a different headspace. Things are happening around you. You're not really present.
Yeah. It
So yeah,
goes on
second
your
time I heard it, I was like, this track is a miracle. Like it's, and I spoke with Maz, and I asked him, what's the meaning of Amana? And he was telling me Amana means rain, but in the sense of prosperity, in the sense of so back in the day in Brazil, when the tribes were, I guess, trying to eat and for the ground to be prosperous, they're looking for rain. They're waiting for the rain. So that's what Amana means. Is just for that kind of nurturing and prosperity. So yeah, beautiful meaning behind the track, and yeah, that's gonna have to be my pick for this one.
Yeah.
That
So
track, I got
I feel like
convinced. I got convinced by that track. I mean, I know we're going a bit back to the social media clips, but when Coffee dropped that before Maz played that clip, I don't know where it was in South America, but where he like asked him if he could open with that track, like
Yeah,
I was like, oof, this is a nice track, man. Like just to
yeah.
see the audience
it's
respond to
tough.
it the way they did, that's kind of what convinced me about it. Is when you see it, or and the way it gets played live, and then you see it versus just hearing it on a pair of headphones. I think when you see it and hear it live,
Yeah.
you know, it was similar to when I heard, was it the Shimza track that dropped recently? Stand By Me, that one.
Darling.
What's the original? What's
Oh,
the name
bro,
of
I
it?
Darling.
love that track, man.
Like, but that
Darling,
didn't
yeah,
really
Alan Black.
convince me so much through the earphones. But then when I heard it live in the club as a closing song, I said this to Manu last week. I was like, damn, what a closer this is. This is a closing song and a
What a
half.
closer.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Those are both tracks that I played back to back during my set of the cross. Darling and Amana.
Oh yeah, you did. Oh, that you did. And you put an acapella on the man, did you?
Live Without Your Love, yeah. I was just playing
Yeah.
around with acapellas and stuff. I wanted to. I mean, this is by no means saying that it needs it. I think Amana is very similar to how Rapture Free was as a track. It's perfect in its own right as itself as an instrumental track. But I've seen a few people play it and they've dropped a little vocal over the top. And I think having it as that sort of, it's a great track in its own right, and then being able to use it as a DJ tool in that way as well is a whole next
It's
dimension
tough,
to
man.
it, bro. It's crazy.
What's your
My
track, bro?
my track. So there's a couple. I've got them here. This one's not necessarily Afro House, but I came across this in my in-flight. It's from Stay True, and it's an artist called El Payo,
El Payo.
a track called Dawnlands. And I know you're a deep house man, Manu, so you probably know El Payo. Have you heard this one?
I haven't heard that one, but the album that he dropped last year, early last year or the year before, no
Good
skips.
stuff.
Crazy,
It's
crazy.
crazy. It's a crazy track. It's like, for me, this is what I call real musicality and artistry, as opposed to just sitting down and doing things on a grid on your DAW and making music. This guy is a true musician. So that's one that drops on the 12th, and then the other one comes in. Well, Sondela's got one coming up. Um, Mishu, King Donna, and Idaziz Ringer, which
Oh
dropped
yeah,
on my
I've heard that
12th
one.
recently. That
I
was
like it.
a dope track. And then the third one, which really stood out to me, is by on Pow Pow, DJ Drift Franklin, and it's a track called Stupid Love. Like, yeah, man.
Hits.
It's 10 out of 10. I love this track. I love it. I played it. I had it playing. I was sort of going through some promos, and I was like, DJ Drift Franklin. I've not heard of DJ Drift Franklin before, but
I've reviewed him a couple of times. Yeah, I've
how,
reviewed Drift. Yeah, he's in
what do you know of
Mozambican.
his sound? Because this is quite like melodic. I hate to call it the kind of sound, but it's got that kind of vibe to it with a bit more of
He's a he's a
a
he's tech groove, I would say.
Mm,
He's a tech groovy guy. The track that he dropped with DJ Kid, Dreaming, is nice. It's like a broken beat on Thump. Have you heard that one? Dropped
I haven't heard
a
that
few
one.
weeks back. That's a nice one. It's like a broken beat Afro tech track with a bit of soul in it. But Drift Franklin is one to watch for sure. For sure,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
good.
man. Sam, I don't know how much you can tell us. You mentioned some stuff before
I
we
mean,
started. I don't know if
I'm no guru in terms of track record names anyway. So but like, I mean, in the immediate sense, Darren's Flauta coming very soon, coming out on Good Diva. I think it's at the end of April. It's a track and a half.
yeah,
It's got it's very good. Then, I mean, other guys that I know that will be releasing before the summer. I'm sure Karen Soul's releasing, I think, going to release an EP. Mash has got something coming soon. Son of
How
Dennis
much
got
can you tell
something.
us about the Mash one? Not too
I mean,
much.
it's made its way through social media a little bit, but in terms of release date, not sure. Not sure when, but I'd say the objective would be sometime before the summer or early summer. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, other than that, everyone's pretty much working on music. I mean, Lemon and Herb has got a lot of releases lined up for the year, quite continuously. You know, they did a bit less
Yeah,
last year, but their focus for 2024 is really to concentrate on quite a few releases. I know Dandy is working on some music. Daxon, obviously, is probably going to be dropping an EP or two singles or something like that before the summer, and then most likely an album after the summer, most likely. So we'll see. We'll
yeah.
see what all comes to fruition. But names of tracks, no guru, unfortunately, man.
No,
I
it's
wait for the
completely fine.
records to fall into my WhatsApp and have a listen. That's when I know about them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, before we close off, one more thing because we haven't had a chance. It's been a couple of weeks since we last recorded now, but thoughts on Tandaza kind of music, Arabic piano, and Alan Dixon, I believe. Thoughts on that?
It's a story. It's a nice story told, storytelling track. I really hope Arabic piano blows up after this. To be honest, I know they're pushing him a lot. I like his style, the image, the brand. So yeah, now it's interesting for me to see where he goes from here and what else he
Yeah,
drops by himself. Right? I don't
yeah,
want the kind of music push by himself. Let's see what he does because now he's got the stage, he's got the eyeballs on him. But that track is crazy, crazy track. Did you play it on on Friday?
it's another one I played. Had to drop it, man. I
Oh,
am
you dropped it.
obsessed with that track. I love it. One of my favorite tracks to drop this year, really. And again, I'm really happy for Arabic piano. I remember featuring him as a guest a little while ago, and we had a chat. And he was saying that he was like trying to find his place in the industry and what works and everything. And yeah, I'm happy to see him release such an incredible track. He had a track called Mirror Hour that was his like feature track when he did a guest mix for me. Beautifully played pianos, production on it was dope. It was a little bit more of a sort of easy listening chill track as opposed to a club record, but yeah, they've all of them together have killed it on this track, and I think it's
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I
it's
clocked
something.
onto him. I clocked onto him when he did was it Be Your Girl? I think that's what it was. Was that
Be
it
Your
called?
Girl,
Like
yeah, with Dr.
with
Phil.
Dr. Phil?
Incredible track.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. Right, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Sam, thank you so much for joining us today. I think, like I mentioned earlier, some great insight for anybody who's trying to get their way into the scene or people who are looking for management. Manu, as always, bro, it's been a pleasure. I can't wait for the three of us to hang out again very soon. And to everybody at home who's listening, thank you for tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. Do us a big favor, please, and press that subscribe button. This conversation is for everybody. It's not just for us. It's for everyone who's listening at home as well. So feel free to leave us a comment or a suggestion for topics that you'd like us to discuss. You can hit us up on our individual socials. We'll make sure that we drop Sam's socials and his agency's socials around as well. And remember to drop us a follow across socials at No Guest List OFC. That's it for this week, and we'll be back again very, very soon. Hopefully with a full house. Hopefully you'll be with us.
Shout out to Wes, man. Shout out to Wes.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Wes.
yeah, yeah. So,
Sam, thank you. Manu,
no worries. Thanks,
much love
guys.
to
Thanks
all
for
of you,
having me,
bro.
man.
Love,
Peace,
love.
guys.